Clash in Paris was a WWE show that happened within the last 24 hours, and actually, what nobody is talking about and should be bigger in headline news is that Becky Lynch did a Dominic Mysterio, and she went heel even though she was already heel. Now, since the dawn of time, we've always been told you should never go double heel, and yet here we are, and it's quite scary. And as I expected, when this did happen, it's been very divisive. I don't know how I feel about it at the moment. In case you did win it, that's how the four-way finished. It looked like CM Punk was going to win. He was going to have a couple of GTSs after LA Knight and Jey Uso had been taken out, not for dinner. I did realize this morning. A masked person turned up, right, with the hood and revealed it after punching CM Punk right in the balls to reveal it was Becky Lynch. Why did she need to reveal herself, right? If you take wrestling out of it and you just assume what we're watching is legitimate, it's just there for pageantry. Like, it wasn't somebody coming back. It wasn't somebody debuting. Everyone knows that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are husband and wife in real life. So it was utterly redonkulous. But yeah, she hits CM Punk. Seth Rollins then hits the curb stomp onto the chair. 1, 2, 3. He's the still World Heavyweight Champion. It tied into the first match, obviously, when Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker got kicked out of the building. Otherwise, they'd be suspended without pay, even though a better threat would be, I'll call the police and you'll never get to leave, Parry. And I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I'm 99% sure it's going to lead to Seth and Becky taking on CM Punk and AJ Lee. If it's not that, I don't think you tell Seth Rollins, oh, can you shout into CM Punk's face, I hate your family? That's just winding up the audience, and I don't think WWE would be that silly. Like, some people said, oh no, it's going to be CM Punk and Nikki Bella, and somebody else said it's going to be CM Punk and Bayley. That's lame, right? And if WWE did do that, and they would know this way before I would cotton on to the fact, they will cause a real shitstorm, man. And they don't want to do that. Nobody wants them to do that. I would imagine they've convinced AJ Lee to come back. Maybe she doesn't want to do a singles match because it's only going to be like a short thing. We have that big ESPN show, which WWE are loading up to the nines for many reasons. They've probably offered her all the money in the world. She gets to team with her husband, move wrestling out for one side. On a personal point of view, she's going to go and love that. I'm sure Becky and Seth feel the same. I guess for me, if it is a short-term thing, I don't want Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins together like that on television. Like, I guess because Becky Lynch has done such a good job with the Intercontinental title, and I like Seth Rollins with the World Heavyweight Championship. I think in many ways he's still underrated. For years, he's been sort of the glue that held WWE together, especially when you go back sort of pre-pandemic when it was all over the place. But we remember what happened a few years ago with Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin, which feels like a million years ago. I didn't necessarily think it clicked then. I don't necessarily think it's going to overclick now. Of course, we have to wait and see, but I hope this is just a coming together to get this match, like a proper wrestling thing, or we're going to do it because we want to get something out of it, and then we move on to something else, and Becky Lynch can probably lose the IC title to Bayley. We said that in the video yesterday. Check it out. And I still think Seth Rollins has to lose the belt to CM Punk. Like, he screwed him twice now. You could probably get a third screw job because, of course, good things come in threes, but then at a Survivor Series, a Royal Rumble, maybe even next year's WrestleMania, CM Punk has to get his proper, quote-unquote, World Championship win and then go on a 6-week reign, a 12-week reign, a 6-month reign, whatever it may be, depending on the story. I think, and I did like it, right? I really like Becky Lynch. I think she's awesome. I think some people have said some silly things about Becky Lynch today, but my worry is that WWE is over-relying on the tropes that they enjoy doing, right? I loved it when Solo Sikoa did a double clash at the Castle. I won't go through all of them because I'll forget. But we've seen it a lot, that a pay-per-view has to finish with someone going, ta-da, it's me, once again, to get the pop, to give you the swerve, to give you the twist. And while this one does make sense, we're going to do the mixed tag, it will do such good numbers, the mixed tag, because people love AJ Lee, like they should. But it would be nice if we could have come up with another way to do it, just because we have done this a lot. And listen, it's a hard job. I understand that. You're making 52 weeks of programming a year. I'm not trying to pretend that it's easy. But I kind of felt the law of diminishing returns here. I mean, instantly it was Becky Lynch anyway, the way she was moving. I don't know whether that was just a me thing or if everybody else picked up on it. But I don't want to do this again for like maybe 2 years. And I'm worried that WWE would if they were able to debut someone. I just think we need to go back to the drawing board a little bit and shuffle around with the creative. I mean, you could have come up with a way for Becky Lynch. She didn't have to reveal herself. She's already in the company. As we already established, she was a heel that went heel. Maybe we should have done more in the preamble with this. I do not know. But I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I want to see what's going to happen on Raw. So that's, a huge point of why you do something big at the pay-per-view. I just don't want to fall into this trap of thinking, oh, we have a big show and we have thousands and thousands of people going crazy and the audience was awesome at Clash at Paris. We have to end on some kind of a dun, dun, dun. Sometimes you can just end on man hits move or woman hits move and gets the 1, 2, 3, retains a championship, wins a championship. It's still meant to be sporting competition at the heart of it, wrestling. And sometimes the best boxing matches you can see or the best UFC fights you can see is when your favorite person wins. And they defeat the person you don't like, you go home happy, and you think to yourself, maybe I should come again. And the four-way was fine. I would describe a lot of matches on this show as just fine. But because of that amazing crowd, they got elevated. So the four-way was fine. It was very much we'll go, you go, I go. Everybody gets their spot. I am definitely the outlier. People kept calling Punk, Jay, and LA Knight stupid baby faces because they kept falling out, which allowed Seth Rollins to get in there. No. I want baby faces to fall out if a world championship is on the line. I almost want the idea of face and heel to go out the window there, which is why I like the start when Punk just kicked Jey Uso right in the face, and then Jey Uso got his revenge. He didn't forget, like an elephant when they were setting up the table, and LA Knight did his own thing too. And yes, of course, it ultimately cost them, but I think it's another one that I'm a bit bored of. Oh, we're all baby faces. We have to be on the same team. No, we don't. You can be your own person. Roman Reigns was right when he said that to Jey Uso. I really like Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed too. Talked about this on What Culture. I didn't talk about this on What Culture. Ups and Downs, where I freelance for. Check out my review, my beat by beat review. I should have said this. The whole angle was way too long. I think it ended at the 56-minute mark, and I don't think anything needs to be that long in my entire life. I love the match because we made Bronson Reed look like a beast. When he blocked that spear just because he was big, I was like, that's my kind of wrestling. Roman Reigns is just operating on a crazy level right now. Love the fact it was only one spear because that was an issue with Clash in Paris. I know we do this all the time, but it stood like a sore thumb. Finishers don't exist. The AA cannot be called a finisher anymore. It just can't. That would be an absolute lie. But then the beatdown with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed who kept coming, and then Jey Uso gets beat down. I like the fact it tied into the main event and it gave Jey Uso a reason to sell because he had, tum-tum problem after he got speared or tsunami. No, it was Roman Reigns that got tsunami'd. But yeah, when all of a sudden you get Adam Pearce telling them, you're banned from the building, and they were coming up to the hour mark of a show, I think WWE can condense these things a bit better. And I think they realised that too, because after that it was much more smooth sailing, which WWE hasn't done on a pay-per-view for a while. That was the other thing. It felt like the matches were longer on this show. So I wonder if that's an ESPN edict, and they're just kind of putting the polices in place now because they want whatever it may be. Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella was... Listen, I went back and rewatched it. It's a fine match. We're never going to talk about it again. And the reason people are going crazy is because of the table spot and, of course, the missed kick. Who the flub cares? They missed a kick. I don't want to be that guy, but wrestling may be predetermined sports, and they're just human beings. And sometimes people make mistakes. Becky Lynch just grabbed her face out of instinct, but at least she didn't go down, which we've seen before, and she jumps on, make the cover. I think ultimately... And this is probably too horrible because I really like both. I think Becky Lynch is all time, and I think Nikki Bella did open a lot of doors that we probably don't give her enough credit for today. But I just don't think you're ever going to think about it again or talk about it with anybody. And given that the Intercontinental title was on the line, and that's been one of those championships this year that really has been elevated, this didn't really do anything for it, or Becky Lynch, or Nikki Bella. And it kind of felt like Becky Lynch had moved on within 2 hours because, of course, she came out with her husband. Massively intrigued to see what we do with Nikki now. I don't know what's next. I enjoyed the surprise roll-up, the technical aspect that Becky did. But yeah, and it's kind of the same as the tag team match as well, the Street Profits versus the Whites. It felt more like a SmackDown match just because the angle that we're pushing is the Street Profits are going to break up. Super interesting to think about because they've been together, it must be coming on 10 years. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's been a long old time because pre-pandemic minimum, I think that's correct. And since then, we've changed them. We've taken away their music. We've taken away their solo cups. They were here with Bobby Lashley. That didn't work. They really kind of have been all over the place. And I think if they're going to stay as a tag team, you just go back to what was working with the big costumes and the big music and all the things that fell from the sky. That's what fans seem to react to. They just don't seem to react to them as much these days, which could be the reason why I presume Triple H has gone, okay, now you're going to go off in their separate directions. Do I want to see a match? Not necessarily. I think it's a bit boring. I think it would be better if they did just shake hands. Who did that? It was McGillicuddy and Ryback. Was that right? They just went, well. And they shook hands, went their separate ways. It was so refreshing. I think quite a lot of people liked that. But here there was animosity, especially because Bro Dallas had wound them up on SmackDown too. So that could be interesting. Bro Dallas has been way more intriguing the last sort of 4 or 5 days, and it has been a long old time, just because we weren't putting him in storylines. And of course, the White 6-1 after distraction, interference, and confusion. Still way too much for me. And Nikki Cross just holding somebody's leg. And then Uncle Howdy just hit what's it called, Sister Abigail on the floor. It's called something else now, like the Purge. Or something stupid, I can't remember. That was the other thing about the Nikki Bella match. I'm sure it was called the Fearless Lock when she was working, and I pushed that out of my brain. The Fearless Lock is not a good name for a move. It just sounds so utterly ridiculous, but maybe that's why it's the best name. So those two matches to me, they were kind of just there. doing their own thing. Really like the Donnybrook, the good old-fashioned Donnybrook. They just kicked each other's ass. Big fan of Rusev winning, because I felt like that was kind of a surprise. And I saw today, it was Brian Alvarez that said this, quite like the idea that Rusev could go on to win the IC Championship at some point, and then Sheamus can be the guy to beat Rusev, because obviously that's the last title that Sheamus wants to win. That would be a very nice 360, especially if the IC title does go, and we take our time here. I'm not saying in the next few weeks, I'm saying the next few months. I think it's going to start happening in a few hours. AJ Styles beats Dominic Mysterio tonight in Paris, because France loves AJ Styles. He becomes the Intercontinental Champion. Dominic can then become the AAA Mega Champion, or whatever the flub it's called. Rusev can then be a contender for AJ Styles, because that's the kind of matches I want to see. I think that could be awesome. Once again, elongate it. Eventually, Rusev wins that. It goes back to Sheamus, and maybe you can even pull that out to WrestleMania 42, which is when Sheamus wins the IC title, and he's completed the set and he's won every single championship. That is what I would like to see. Really good match, though. Really hard-hitting. When they were throwing each other into the bar paraphernalia, whatever the flub you'd call it, kind of looked brutal, and Sheamus, to me, absolutely smacked his neck at one point, and it was, I just really hope that they don't vanish from TV. Again, I'll watch Raw in a few hours to see if they turn up. But I kind of feel like this is the third match they've done, or fourth, whatever. If we don't follow up like we didn't do on the other 3 or 2, then what are we doing? What is the idea with this? So we have to do anything, something on Raw, be it a promo, a replay video with the commentators giving us some exposition, whatever, just so we can be like, okay, we know what we're doing here, and you dive into it. And yes, John Cena versus Logan Paul. I think this was my favorite Logan Paul match. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't smooth, it wasn't match of the year, as somebody told me. Do you know what? I shouldn't say that. If it's your match of the year, good for you, man. You enjoy that as much as possible. But I liked it because I felt like John Cena, and I think this sounds like something John Cena would say, not that I know him, but from interviews, etc., would be, we're not going to do your spectacular whizzy wham stuff that we plan in the XT Performance Center, which is still a form of wrestling. I'm not criticizing it, but I can imagine John Cena is going to be like, here's our basic plan. We're going to go out there, we're going to fill the crowd, and we're going to try and teach you some licks, kid. And no one's going to say no to Logan Paul, which is why I think in some places it was a bit wishy-washy for that very reason. But I think that's why I liked it too. It felt more like a WWE, I know it wasn't the main event, but it felt more like a WWE John Cena main event. And yes, it was just big move 1, 2, ooh, big move 1, 2, ooh. But I just felt Logan looked like he was having to think about things more, as opposed to I know what's coming next. I don't know. You can debate that in the comments. This is when I got a bit fed up with people kicking out the AA. Because when John Cena gave Logan Paul the first AA, I was like, well, you're going to kick out. And he did. And he gave the second one, you're going to kick out. Because I think we have fallen into a malaise with that kind of a stuff. I think we need a big old reset, which is why I love the fact, like I said, Roman Reigns hit that first spear, 1, 2, 3, Bronson Reed is down. I think we need to reset a lot of these things. The AA being up there, Cody Rhodes' Crossroads being another. You shouldn't have, I think he hit 2 at the end, right? Is that, I think that's true. And of course, we were spamming finishing moves in the main event as well. And I understand it works, which actually is all that matters. You can probably get away with it on a show like Clash in Paris. But I am just thinking long term. I would just loved it if he had hit that and just beaten him 1, 2, 3. I mean, no, because you have to reestablish it. But I just think it would have made that move feel devastating. And really it goes back to WrestleMania 17. I know people did it beforehand, but it feels to me it was popularized when The Rock and Steve Austin would do each other moves and then kick out 1, 2 over and over again. And it was amazing. And that feud is all time. But it's never really gone away. And if we just take it as read that it was then, although I'm sure you'll be able to provide other evidence, we're talking about 24 years. I think after 24 years, we can kind of move things back. And you know that John Cena versus Brock Lesnar is going to be the same. But still, that's my teeny tiny negative. I liked it a lot. I really, really did. And given that he's only had 23 matches, Logan Paul is very good at pro wrestling. Even if 22 of those matches has been going to the NXT Performance Center and practicing, it's still a completely different environment to take it from there and put it in a ring in front of people and some mean humans as well who will say horrible things. So I think you just have to give him his due. I just do, right? It's not an easy thing to do. It's very, very, very hard. And being only 23 matches in and being able to do what he does and remember what he does and sort of move the way he does, I think he's just naturally good at it. I do. And you could probably come in here and say after 23 matches, is he the best wrestler in terms of how much he's progressed so quickly? I think he would be in the conversation. I said this on SmackDown Ups and Downs. I do think his promos need to kind of fall away from the pattern that he's gone into. We did an AI-assisted promo on SmackDown. It was very identical to what Logan Paul says. I think there's more there for Logan Paul to explore, and hopefully he'll do that. Obviously, you now have people saying he's such a good heel, he'll want they be a babyface. I don't believe that. I think Logan Paul, and he should like this, given what he says all the time, is an outlier. He sits in his own box and he'll do his own thing, and it will be very impressive. I can't see a time where he'll ever be a mega babyface. And I think he will be the world champion. I don't think it will work. But again, I need to see what the scenario is. I liked it. And I think, even though we did use a lot of John Cena dates on this, in terms of a match, and that amazing crowd for the John Cena match, which is why you should watch it, even over the good old-fashioned Donnybrook. So into it, so loud. I think they understood the fact it was probably John Cena's last time in France, and I don't know if he's on SmackDown this week, or if they've gone back to America, but maybe his last time in Europe, doing a big match like that. So special, you probably could have put it in the main event, but if Becky Lynch is going to, turn heel when she's already a heel, you probably don't want to risk anything going on after that, because maybe you do drown out the crowd. So, listen, it was a fine show. I had a good time with it for what it was, around about 3.5 hours, I think. I don't think we'll talk about it again, other than the Becky Lynch stuff and the John Cena pop. And listen, maybe the good old-fashioned Donnybrook, if there is something that we can do after the fact. And of course, Roman Reigns is going to be off TV for ages. So at least we had a lot of story beats that we could sort of swallow and understand why. I think Roman's not going to be back for a good sort of 3-4 weeks after Street Fighter, which is what Cody Rhodes is doing as well. I presume Cody Rhodes will be back soon. But I did have fun. And again, I got in after wrestling Grado at GWK in Barnsley. So that was pretty cool for me. I wanted to wrestle Grado for a while. He was awesome, and it was just a joy to share the ring with him. But that is how I felt about it. So I was on a buzz from wrestling, and then being able to get in and watch 3 more hours of wrestling, which I thought was, fun. So that's all wrestling needs to be. So it's a shallow show in terms of your memories. I think it's going to be 2047 to be like, man, remember that amazing show in Paris? Other than maybe the crowd, but wrestling can still be fun. And I'm excited to see what they do on Raw later, especially if AJ Styles does win the title. I think that'll be probably the pop of the weekend, which is awesome. Now listen, I want to know what you thought about Clash in Paris. Drop me a comment below. Please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which are my thoughts on SmackDown. And you can also sign up to my Patreon at patreon.com/Simon316 for watch-alongs, only $5. Otherwise, go to mine.com/Simon. Brand new content is out today, or supplements are out today. Use code Simon to get 10% off, often more. Some flavors are 30% at the moment. It ships worldwide. New fitness channel down there as well. I need to more videos are coming. They're there. I'm editing those, so life is hard in a good way. I enjoy it. Otherwise, yes, social media and cameos and TikToks and all those things. Come and say hello. Otherwise, continue to enjoy the madness of wrestling. I cannot believe that WrestlePalooza is like 2.5 weeks. We probably need to calm it down with these PLEs, but I don't work there. Never mind. Goodbye.